This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Yes. Good Saturday morning to all of you as we come on a little early this particular Saturday, the final one of August 2025. And welcome to 757 Sports Talk, powered by Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe wherever you may be tuning in. He is the coach, Ed Young. I am Matthew Hatfield. We're going to dive into our high school football talk at the top of the hour. So bear with us, all you people that are anxiously waiting with bated breath to hear what's happening, but we have a couple of items to take care of first. Ed, good morning. I don't have it queued up, but it was just 2 or 3 weeks ago, because it was brought to my attention that you guaranteed and declared that Micah Parsons would be in uniform for the Dallas Cowboys and Terry McLaurin would be in uniform for the Washington Commanders. And yet again, another guarantee, another promise, another declaration, poof, won't work out the way you envisioned it. What do you have to say to yourself except the fact that Jerry Jones is senile? Go ahead.
Right. We're going to spend time on the dementia infiltrated.
Wait. Don't make fun of people with dementia now. You might have it one day. You know, it's.
No, I'm saying I'm not meaning it in a joking way, because it is a horrible disease.
Right.
We're not going to spend time on McLaurin is definitely with the Commanders, and we're going to say, oh, Parsons is not with the Cowboys no more.
No.
Okay. So let's concentrate on McLaurin. The Jerry Jones one is in small way a major joke, because Jones is clueless as to what he's doing. How can you say out loud, we're not dealing with the agent? This is 2025. Okay, you got an agent. You're dealing with agent. You didn't. We had a deal in place. Who did? Jerry Jones needs. And I put this on Facebook this week. He really needs to give up the reins. He's showing he's losing it. Mm-hmm. The trade totally surprised me. I really thought he signed, but every day that it kept going past, and then training camp was over, then I started thinking, this joker is going to trade Parsons if he gets the right deal. He's going to trade Parsons. Mm-hmm. McLaurin, I even said I didn't care if the Commanders trade McLaurin. He's not a top 10 receiver in the league. What they can do without him. But they sign him, everything's good. Now the trade, 2 first-round picks. Green Bay, there'll be lower picks because they'll be good. Clark, the defensive lineman, will help them, but he ain't no Micah Parsons. You can forget that. And Green Bay's chances for Super Bowl have gone up, because Parsons will be the leading tackler for the Packers. So,
tackler. Are you sure he'll have the most tackles as far as total tackles or sacks? Which do you?
Sacks? Okay, let me back up. I might need to say sacks more, but if they play him, I don't look at Parsons as an edge rusher anymore. I really think he can cover sideline to sideline. He can run down running backs. Depends on the Packers scheme on defense. Depends on how they're going to really play him. But then again, as an edge rusher, he's going to be a problem getting into the quarterbacks. It's just that I can't believe he was traded. But then knowing Jerry Jones and his infinite ways, and then he sent him to a good team in the same conference. My Raiders were looking. The Raiders, I think, offered 3 first-round picks, and they will have better picks than Green Bay will, but they didn't make the trade. So that's it. And I'm anxious to see. I know we got Cowboy fans. I'm anxious to see they chime in on the chat line and see how they feel about the trade. I can't see any Cowboy fan happy about the trade. I really can't. I heard yesterday on talk radio, some people thought it was a great pickup, 2 first-round picks and Clark. I think they could have got more. I'll just say that.
It's not a Herschel Walker. I'm sorry, it's not the same thing.
You're not going to get 4 or 5.
This team is tanking. This team is tanking for a high draft choice. They're not going, I think, anywhere. And by the way, we'll do our NFL over-under to the NFC at the end of the show today. after we go through some high school football content. And this is a big day with college football in full swing on this Saturday. You got Texas, Ohio State. You got Lee Corso getting ready to put his final headgear on at around 12 noonish, his final college game day on ESPN. And the NFL does get going with games that matter, not those irrelevant preseason matchups, coming up on Thursday with Dallas taking on the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. And then we have our NFL picks next week. You know what we might do? I'll tell you what we're going to do, I think, unless you disapprove. Since we had such a great reaction and feedback from our preview show, we might do a little Sunday night special tomorrow night just for the NFL picks edition, and just to react to what happened in college football today, tomorrow. How about that? Little Sunday night special. Maybe not a full hour. It could be maybe like a half hour. We'll figure it out. Do something Sunday night little special.
I think the high school, the college football plate today is full. Saucy, if you may put it in words.
Well, we'll put some on it before we go to break. Let's do that. Let's put some on the screen for all of you out there. Which game tickles Ed's fancy? Tickle my fancy. It's like a horse name, isn't it? Which game tickles your fancy the most? And the obvious logical one is to say Texas with Arch Manning against Ohio State with that wonderful wide receiver Jeremiah Smith. But let me do it this way. Besides the elephant in the room, that one, which one else?
That's the obvious, yes.
And Notre Dame doesn't play till tomorrow, which, by the way, Sunday night. Matter of fact, we should do it while Notre Dame's playing tomorrow night. That'd be great.
I can't. I got to watch Notre Dame play.
We can do it for a half or something. Listen, we've never done, I don't think we've done, a lot of people have done like a live show while a game's going on. We're not doing play the game, but like a little, it'd be like the Young and Hatfield cast. Like do the Manning cast. It could be the Young and Hatfield cast.
Yeah.
We get a couple guests on. That's actually something we've not done. We should do, and that would be a neat little twist. I don't think we can get our man Brian Driscoll on while the game's going on. He's probably covering it. And by the way, he's one of our most popular guests we've had on. But we could get somebody we could think of to come on, maybe a high school football coach to come on, chat about his team and a little bit about the game with us. I think that's the way to go. I really do. Maybe get two coaches that are going to play each other in a game this week. I think I have one up my sleeve now. Now, see, I'm brainstorming on the fly, which is a very dangerous thing.
No, your brain is pretty much in a storm most of the time anyway, so you're really speaking from truth. It'd be neat to have the two coaches, one who likes
Notre Dame,
and the other one who likes Miami.
Well, you know who we should get? Well, he probably has a coaches meeting, but he'll probably be done with it because a lot of coaches have a Sunday coaches meeting. I got the guy, our buddy from Norfolk, Lake Taylor, your friend and pal, Hank Slater would be a logical one.
A Notre Dame fan or Miami fan?
I believe he's a big Notre Dame fan like you are. Remember when Darnell Ewell came in studio with us on the radio days, big lineman that had the handshake of death grip? I think that's the one. That is the one we got to get Hank, and then find like a coach, probably a guy from the beach. Be done at one of his meetings. We could get either maybe Tyler Noe at Cox or John White at Bayside or Brandon Williams at Green Run. We can figure out one of those 3 or 4 guys could come to mind. We get a youngster like Mark Hall at Salem who got a nice win. We'll talk about all those games coming up. Don't worry, folks. We got to tease you and make you wait. People like, why are they going to the high school games now? Talk about it now. We're going to make you wait to the top of the hour. We usually come on at 10. We're going to make you wait till 10 o'clock to get the high school scores. That's what we're doing. It's a little early, it's like the show before the show, the pre-show before the show.
Yeah, I could see that. He wouldn't even give me the scores because I got some last night, but not all. And I was trying to catch his late night show that he has.
That's your fault.
I fell asleep.
Oh, you fell asleep. Not during the show, did you?
Not. Yeah, I got your first 8-9 minutes, and then the next thing I saw was eyelids closed.
You fell asleep during my show?
It was not. It's not boring. It was not boring. It was not boring.
What else is it if you fell asleep during the show?
I was just tired, man. I've had a rough week. So
wow.
I was just tired. So I was working the Smithfield game last night, out and about in the field.
Well, I want you to say your comments on the game, the commentary on what happened in the game for a little bit later.
Right. I'm not going to tell anybody right now. Yeah. But as far as getting back to your original question, game intrigues me other than the obvious. I'm kind of looking at LSU Clemson, because
I got a bold pick on that game. You know what it is?
Yeah. There's a lot of hype about LSU this year. I'm not quite sure why. They are ranked 9th. That's top
Corso
10.
just picked them. Did you see? Corso just picked them to win the national championship over Penn State. He picked LSU.
He picked LSU.
Yes.
Now I see why Corso's having a
Don't be that way.
Yeah, I saw the special with Corso where he was in the movie theater by himself watching all the highlights. Man, that almost brought a tear to my eye too. Like I want to say, of course, Lee, you cannot walk away. We can't. You got to stay all year. But a lot of those was Herb Street. He really showed emotion. He couldn't really hold it back. Lee will be missed. He's an institution with that show, and funny as all get out. But I guess all good things at some point do come to an end. But LSU winning a national title.
What I want to see with LSU is if they have enough receiver play. We think of some of the better receivers in college and the NFL, like Justin Jefferson of the Vikings, Jamar Chase with the Bengals. Are their receivers going to be good enough for Garrett Nussmeier to advance that offense from about 30 points a game to in that 42, 45 range, which they're going to probably need not just to be the best in the SEC, but to make a run if they get to the playoff, because they have not just Clemson. I'll tell you what else is a dangerous game. I'm going to give you a sleeper because they won the national championship in basketball. They play Long Island today, which will be an easy shoe-in win. Florida with DJ Lagway. When they put him at quarterback, they got better. A lot of people are on the Florida train to be a real dark horse in this thing. And then I'll tell you who I heard just yesterday with Boise State going down. We got to touch on this before we go to break here at Norfolk State with the Michael Vick coaching debut. Boise State falling to South Florida. A lot of people say that group of 5 outside the Power 5 team that's going to make the playoff is going to come from the Sun Belt in our state in James Madison University, which we talked about last week with David Teal of the Daily Press and Virginia Pilot. If you missed any of that, it's up there on our podcast page. JMU's got an offense that is for real, Ed, and that schedule, they've got Louisville on it, they got Liberty on it, they've got Old Dominion on it. But if they come out of that schedule with just one blemish, I think, if they're 11-1 and win the Sun Belt, they might get that seat at the table.
Yeah, I can see JMU because a lot of the pundits are speaking about JMU, and everybody looks for that Cinderella story, so to speak, among the big boys. So they could be there. But I'm going to jump back to LSU Clemson too now. I think this is going to be Clemson's toughest game. So if they win it, and we talked about this with Phil Steele a couple weeks back, I think Clemson can run the table on their schedule. And now what is that going to look like as we get into playoffs and all that? Well, they're going to have to be given a pretty decent seed, even though it's in the ACC, it's not SEC. And I believe strongly the SEC champion probably will have a loss. And, I think the Big Ten champion will have a loss. Those leagues are too hard to go through undefeated, because everybody you meet week after week, it's got to be, that pounding's got to be wearing on them. So Clemson could be that team that gets into the playoffs, maybe the only team undefeated. And I know why a lot of people would pick LSU because of the quarterback, and a lot of people picking Clemson because of the quarterback. I think Phil Steele, if I'm not mistaken, had the Clemson quarterback as the potential Heisman winner.
He did. I was just going to say that Cade Klubnik was his pick. And I think Cade is solid, but when I think of Clemson this year, it's the identity is that defensive front, that defensive line being really nasty. Did you watch any of Michael Vick's coaching debut on Thursday against Towson? There was so much hoopla. Stephen A. Smith, ESPN First Take, Cam Newton in the house there, packed Eccles Hall. He certainly passed the buzz test. On the field product, they had 2 different quarterbacks play. Otto Kuhn's got it. Listen, there's a lot of work to be done there. They're not quite, the speed is there on the outside, but in the trenches, they just got mauled and manhandled, to be perfectly honest, by Towson, which is not a stunner. I did a podcast, I know you probably pulled it up, my man Julian Brown, shout out to him, Nova Legends recently, that he asked me to predict the number of wins for all the Commonwealth teams. Might get your take on this if you look at the schedules. I think I took NSU with just 4. Look, I love the buzz going on over there. People are trying to equate it to what Deion Sanders did at Colorado. How about Deion last night dropping to Georgia Tech and Haynes King? How about that? But It's going to take a little while. It's not going to happen overnight. I know people love overnight sensations, and Michael Vick will make progress, I'm sure, during this even first tenure. But if they're expecting him to move the moon, the star, and the sun, stars and sun, moon, stars, and sun, it ain't happening. It's just not happening. I don't think in 2025. It's not happening.
No, I think if I'm not mistaken, you and I attended the press conference, which was run well. First Take was unbelievable. I'm not a Stephen A. fan, as most people know. I do kind of like Cam Newton. His getup that he wears, stuff, man, it's just it's different. But I can't stomach Stephen A. But it was the most I watched Stephen A. ever, and that's attributed because they were at Norfolk State on our backyard. So all that hoopla and all that is great. But you and I said back on the press conference day, this is not a year where you're going to mark success of Vic by record. Okay, it's everything else, and I keep harping back to this. And he mentioned it on First Take. Michael mentioned it. He wanted to get into coaching. He didn't think it would be this soon. It's almost like he's, walking, gingerly into it. And I think he's done a good job of staff. Everything is progressing, and everybody wants to hurry up and see instant success on the field. You're not going to see that. You got to have the right people in place, and you can't compare to Jackson State. It took Dion a little bit to get going too. So that's what people have to understand. Just because his name is Michael Vick doesn't mean he's getting 9 wins. He's not playing. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. But you have to judge it on everything else. I didn't really get a chance to see the game. I was at another event, so I wasn't able to see it.
You were at a concert, right? That's where you were. Let's just say it.
I was relaxing with some nice music.
You were at a concert.
Was giving the update on the scores,
and
plus the concert was free. So
there you go. That's all you had to say. I mean, I didn't even know that you were at a concert. I just know you well enough that you were at a concert. That's all piece of cake. I
was getting the nerves relaxed for the upcoming season.
You were getting the nerves relaxed, all right. You are a predictable son of a gun. Yeah.
But let's cherish in terms of First Take being at Norfolk State, being in the area. That you cannot get that kind of advertisement free as they did. And Norfolk State, I thought, handled it very well. They showed out extremely well. And, let's let Michael get through the year. And any wins they get is to the good. And let's judge
the media attention, is it overboard just to pinch? Just to pinch. I'm asking. I'm not trying to hate.
You think it was a little bit of overkill?
I'm asking you. I'm not bashing. I'm asking you, was it a little bit overboard just to pinch?
No, I'm going to say no. Somebody else asked me that too at the concert I was at. They thought, hey, First Take, you thought they went overboard. I said, no, because if you want to sit down and really try to analyze it, you might say, oh, yeah, it's too much. No, it brought some good old-fashioned publicity, big time. I mean, that's First Take's national.
Sure. Okay.
And I'll use my example. Anytime First Take comes over and I'm watching in the morning, normally I watch Get Up, which is a show before. And then it goes to First Take, and then Get Up goes back to ESPN2.
I don't watch either, but go ahead. Unless Mad Dog's on Wednesdays, I don't watch,
Right. I take it. As soon as First Take comes on, Stephen A's on, quickly grab the remote, switch it back and go watch the second take of Get Up. I don't watch anything Stephen. I watched the whole thing. Okay. Now, it wasn't because Stephen A. It was because they were at Norfolk State. They were at Eccles Hall. How's Norfolk State going to handle all this publicity? I thought they did a great job with it. And I don't think it's too much, because you can get, an hour and a half they were on, and the show goes national. No, you can't replicate that. That was tremendous. And Norfolk State, hats off to you. I thought you did a great job with it. Yeah, it would have been cool if they could have won the game too. It would have been that icing on the cake. But first of all, Townsend was picked to win. Townsend's a little bit more veteran team. And as you said, as you got a chance to see some of it, you thought up front was a major difference. And if you don't have up front, it almost don't matter what else you have. You're in trouble. So, they'll see that, and then that'll be for the recruiting efforts for next year. They're not going to hurry up and recruit 5 linemen for next week. That's not going to happen. You just got to make his adjustments, which is part of his head coaching growth is, okay, now what adjustments can you make from game 1 to game 2 to see some kind of improvement? That's what they got to do. I watched the Georgia Tech Colorado game last night, and Deion lost, and they talked to him after the game in his interview, and he said, we had our opportunities. We blew them. Make no mistake about it. There's some things we got to work on. I think one of them, he said tackling, because the dude that ran for the touchdowns for Tech, King was the last name. King.
The dude?
Yeah, the dude.
Haynes King, not Kane. It ain't Citizen King.
That's his King. King was running all over. He said, but those were things that we can make adjustments to. So now the Colorado fans will be thinking, okay, when their next game comes up, what will it look like? I think they're playing Delaware. What will it look like? They're going to beat Delaware by 3 touchdowns easy.
3 touchdowns, not 2.
3 touchdowns, not 2, 3.
Okay.
So they'll make those adjustments. And it's the same thing with Michael at Norfolk State. Just make those adjustments along with your staff, and then we go from there. That's how it is.
Okay. We're going to take a timeout, but when we come back, you'll hear from Demetrius Means, conversation I had with the Northern Neck broadcaster about his neat career and background, which takes us up to his old stomping grounds in New York before he started getting on the mic. And then at about 10:10 or so, we said 10:05. We actually lied. We didn't mean to lie. We bent the truth a little bit. Ed and I will go over to high school football scores, including 2 pressing questions for Ed. We'll throw in a college question, too. Who's got a better chance to win, Old Dominion over Indiana today in the Hoosier State, or Virginia Tech tomorrow in Atlanta against South Carolina, part of the Sunday double dip of games. But we'll also get Ed to tell us why the Virginia Powers, like Oscar Smith and Maury and the G-men of Graham, are struggling in these out-of-state matchups against other teams. He's been stewing on it for a while, and he'll tell us why, if it'll change, when it'll change, and why it'll change if it does change. We always need to sometimes change.
Change is good, but I'd rather have the green dollar bills.
More is coming your way, plus the over-unders too. It is 757 Sports Talk, and you're watching with us on Cova Sports TV. Stay tuned.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk.
Usually it's Hatfield. That's why I try to tell everybody, get on Hatfield. He is the legal scribe, the talking head that knows all this, puts the whammies on. We do things different on this podcast. That's why we're rated number 3 in the state.
You got Play-Doh? Get out of here! We got people all over the globe watching with us. Sitting in a phone booth with you would be very...
we got to have your own phone booth. I'm not sitting in a phone booth with you.
It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on the Cova Sports TV. We'll share it subscribe.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here is Matt Hatfield.
And we welcome you back to 757 Sports Talk, a special segment as we catch up with one of the greats on the mic in all of Virginia, as we are joined by my pal Demetrius Means, one of the most recognizable voices in the Northern Neck and Middle Peninsula. You've heard his voice through sports commentating for so many years, decades, in fact, doing Northern Neck basketball with his partner, Carol Lee Ashburn. And, of course, Demetrius has also done a lot of work with yours truly on the NFHS network. He's done some VCU women's basketball, and he's just a real treasure on the mic. My pal Demetrius, how are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing great. Anytime that I can get on the air with one of the top broadcasters in the state of Virginia, Matt Hatfield, I know I'm doing well.
Well, this isn't about me. This is about you, as you've been recognized for your outstanding sports coverage of Virginia high school basketball by the Virginia Association of Broadcasters, and you've gotten a number of well-deserved accolades from your time. But I don't know that everybody knows Demetrius Means' roots. Take us back to the days when you were a little boy growing up in New York, listening to Marv Albert, and you got that love for sportscasting and also got that love for the New York Yankees, your favorite baseball team.
Well, that's how it started. I was 12 years old. I used to listen to Marv Albert on the radio and on the television, and I would mock him and imitate him. And my mother would say to me, "Why are you mocking him? Why are you imitating him?" I said, "Because I want to be a sports broadcaster." And so my mother said, well, come on, let's go upstairs in the room. I said, upstairs in the room, what are we going to do? She said, we're going to pray about it. So we prayed about it, and I never thought in my wildest dreams. I started going to radio school in 1984 and ran out of money. My mother died, and I thought that, this thing was going to be over with. I moved to Virginia in 94. My wife happened to be the assistant principal at Lancaster High School. I was standing in the exit doorway watching the game and talking to a couple of people, and this guy tapped me from behind and said, how do you know so much about the game? I said, well, I played high school ball, and I said, we scrimmaged some of the tough guys in the game, Albert King and Vinnie Johnson. And he said, how'd you like to come up to the booth? So I said, sure. I went up to the booth, brought me back for a second week. A third week, he brought me back, and he said, how would you like to continue to do this? And I said, absolutely. The general manager at 101.7 Bay FM radio said to me, how would you like to do a sports show? And I said, sure, I would. So I started going to radio conferences, television conferences, working on my craft. And I ended up doing 468 basketball broadcasts with 101.7 Bay FM, which is where I got my start, and 178 sports shows, and then just filtering out doing college ball. And, that's the way it went. And so things still going good. And so I'm happy to be doing it. And I've got a chance to, meet my dream. And of course, the goal is we all would like to make it to the next level. But if I don't, Matt, you know what? I've had so much fun and met so many people doing this that it's just so great.
Well, and I'm sure you could share some great words of wisdom for some of the younger broadcasters out there, people that aspire to be like a Demetrius Means one day, or just you see themselves on television, radio, whatever form of technology now that we have, and things now with radio, print, broadcasting, as far as podcasting go. You had your own show, the Demetrius Means Sports Show. You were the sideline commentator for Old Dominion football games. As that program got off the ground, did some color analyst work with VCU women's basketball. You've done work on the NFHS Network championship games as well. What do you love most about just the games and being there and getting a chance to also interact with so many neat people, like the first ever football coach at ODU, Bobby Wilder, the late Ted Marchaberta, James Brown, I know you're close with, who's done the pregame show first at Fox, now CBS for so many years. It's got to be a real joy to just kind of tell the stories of these lives, isn't it?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I've met some great people since I've been broadcasting, and I've had some great mentors. I had Bill Roth, who mentored me from Virginia Tech, James Brown, who has mentored me and who has been such a great friend over the last 14 years. But it has been a joy. And, the one thing that I tell people, Matt, especially the people like yourself and myself, when we're looking for other opportunities or looking to go to the next level, is you have to be patient and wait it out. But the most important thing is you got to be happy where you're at. Because sometimes in life, people, when they're going through issues or things are not going their way, they act that out in their life. And that's not the way to go about it. You have to be patient, be happy where you're at, and look to be a mentor. That's a great thing. I've got a chance to mentor so many different people since I've been broadcasting, and got a chance to meet people and guide young people in the right direction. So it's been so much fun, and it's a blast, man. I never thought it would last. 25 years I've been doing this. How about that? And, I didn't think it would last this long. Getting 2 awards from the Virginia Broadcasters Association in 2011 and 2018, and just getting to meet a lot of different people in the field, and I've been able to be versatile a little bit, in my career, sideline reporting, basketball analyst, and hosting my own show. If you asked me what was my favorite thing to do, I really love doing hosting a show, because I love the as you know, I love where I get a chance to not only interview people, but the research is where you really dig in. And you want to be able to be informational, bring things to people that they've never heard before, so that when they listen to your show, they say, that's something I didn't know about that person. So, I just love being all around and try to be versatile as possible.
Yeah, you hit on a great point. We talk with the Northern Neck broadcasting treasure from up in New York, now in VA, Demetrius Means, a quarter century on the mic, doing it at a high level with us here on 757 Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to Cova Sports TV on YouTube and interact with us You touched on the part of just being able to the storytelling, which is all a part of whether you're broadcasting, writing, television. You're telling a story about the athletes, the coaches, the programs, and then the relationship piece. You're building relationships with these young men and women, and sometimes old men and women, whatever field it is, be it the high school level, collegiate sports, be it professional avenue. And I'm curious for you, when you left on the mic with Carol Lee Ashburn, your partner for so long at Lancaster High School, I know people didn't want you to leave. It was, another chapter in your life here. But what it meant to get that recognition you got from the state assembly and people, and just in a small, tight-knit community like Lancaster, I mean, they live and breathe it. And it's something that, whether you're a fan of the New York Yankees, the New York Mets, the Washington Commanders, the LA Lakers, or Lancaster High School might be, people sometimes it's you're their mouthpiece a lot of times, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially moving from New York City to a really rural town in Lancaster County, Virginia, where everybody knows everybody. And then to receive some of these awards, it's just been great. But, when you live in a small town, people really crave for those sports and they really hang on to every word that you say. And I'm just glad that I've been able to be a small part and bring a lot of happiness and joy to people. That's what it's all about. I've always said it's never about me. It's always about what you can do to bring fun or even make a difference in somebody's life, because you're never successful on your own, Matt. You're only successful with the people that God puts around you. And so that's why I've always remained humble in what I do as a broadcaster. And when people get a chance to ask me questions on how I got into broadcasting, it also gives me an opportunity to do some mentorship and things like that. So, it's been great. And my partner, Carol Ashburn, for 25 years, I got to thank him, because if he didn't allow me to be myself, I wouldn't be who I am today as a broadcaster. So it's been great. And I'm thankful for the people in Lancaster County for letting me listening to me on the radio. It's funny because the people in Virginia don't know my background. From when I was a kid, how I got started, as I just, said earlier. They just know from what I've done since I've been in Virginia. When I first started, I also remember they used to call me a namesayer. They used to say, not a namesayer. They used to call me a come here, because I was not from here. And then they used to say, who is this guy on the radio? And then as they got accustomed to me and my broadcasting and doing the show and so on and so forth, I would hear from people throughout the Northern Neck. I couldn't wait to get home to listen to the show. I couldn't wait to listen to the game on the radio. So it's been fun. It's just been a great time. It really has been.
Well, in our last couple minutes here, you hit on the last two things I want to bring up with you, Demetrius, is just the connection you have with your audience, whatever audience it is that's tuning into you, whatever you do. And you brought up the versatility, being able to host shows, be an analyst, silent reporting, pregame, postgame. You've shown that well, and I think it's something you've learned as you've progressed in this, and I'm sure others will probably pick that up too. But whether you're the Marv Alberts of the world or the Tom Hamiltons who just got the Ford C. Frick Award for baseball, the longtime Cleveland baseball broadcaster, whoever it is, people, they live on your every word. What does it mean, though, too, when you interact with the community and the fans that tune into you in the grocery store, or they say, we missed you doing this? What's that mean to you? Because I know being the man of faith you are and your spiritual piece, it has to really, strike a chord with you, doesn't it?
Well, absolutely. And the first thing is that my faith is everything. And I don't run from that. If it wasn't for the Lord Jesus Christ, I wouldn't be who I am today. And when I look back, Matt, from where he brought me from as a youngster who struggled in school and at 12 years old was told that he would never be anything because he grew up in a housing project and he struggled in school. You know what? Where God has brought me from, I have to give him the credit. There was a teacher who said that to me, that I would never be anything because I was African American and because I struggled in school and I lived in the New York City housing project. That same teacher reached out to me in 1998, sent me an email and said he wanted to apologize and ask for his forgiveness because he was so happy to read about my broadcasting career. And I never had anything against him. I didn't hold it against him. I was 12 years old at the time. And I always thought he was a nice guy. And he was a nice guy. He just had it wrong. How many people have it wrong? And all that did was propel me and push me. But going back to, being that voice that the people are used to hearing in the community, when people stop you in the store and, it's a great thing. It's a great connection. And the thing that I've always tried to do as a broadcaster and broadcasting sports within the Lancaster County community and throughout the Northern Neck, and more importantly, representing the radio station 101.7 Bay FM, was that when you're on the air, like you said, people hold on to every word that you say. And I've always tried to be honest and never make it about me. It's about bringing a product, whether it's on air or on TV, and being the best that you can be and giving the best broadcast that you can give.
I'm glad you said that before I get to my last question, because I had two people. I brought up Tom Hamilton earlier. He told someone that whether the baseball team is, winning or in first place or in last place, that might be the only thing that someone looks forward to that day. And then another person that's a living legend like yourself, does the public address for Todd Stadium in Newport News, Bill Nettles. He told me that someone actually went to high school football games, Demetrius, and was blind, but they would go to the games and literally that way they followed the game was off everything he said as the public address announcer. So sometimes I don't think all of us in this field, whether it be man, woman, old, young, whatever, our background, race, religion, you name it, I don't think we sometimes fully realize just the impact you can have in touching lives or making someone's day all the better. And you just nailed it on the head there.
Yeah, I mean, you want to make a difference. I remember a quick story. I had a woman who stopped me one time in a food line, and she said, Demetrius, I had just had knee surgery, and I was in a cast, and the doctor told me I had to continue to stay in my bedroom with my leg lifted up because I could not get around good. And she said, but when I heard your voice on the Saturday morning sports talk show, I had my kids bring me out to the living room. So when you can bring joy to somebody in a situation like that, and when they tell you something like that, it's like, wow, maybe you are making a difference, and maybe you are bringing some joy to somebody's life. And that's what it's all about. It's about, having fun and do what you do best. Use the God-given gifts that he's given you. I always stand on, especially, as you know, I'm a man of faith. I stand on Job 5:9, where the word of God says that a man's gift will make room for him and bringeth him before great men. And so, like I said, I have no complaints with the doors that have opened, the people that I have met, I don't know what's going to happen next. I got a few things in the works. I've been contacted by a few people. I don't know what else is going to happen in my broadcasting situation, but I can tell you I had so much fun, not only working with so many people, Carol Ashburn, yourself, and so many other broadcasters throughout the state of Virginia. And then to get that award from the Commonwealth was unbelievable. I've never heard of a broadcaster getting accommodation.
That's cool.
That's crazy. It's unheard of.
You got me jealous. I'm not going to lie. You got me jealous. Pretty cool. I like that one day so I can tell my partner, Ed Young, see what I got? But I'm so glad to catch up with you. We could spend hours upon hours, and I'm sure we'll do this again sometimes as people see it on the screen there. Our picture we took a few years back at the Siegel Center at VCU in Richmond doing the NFHS network. So a privilege to get that honor, the opportunity to broadcast games there. I know you are like I am. But before I let you go, I have to, because it's just a requirement. We did this for many years on radio. I'm going to close my eyes and listen to Marv Albert. Go ahead. I know this is Marv. This is not Demetrius. Go ahead. I want to hear you.
First of all, there may be a lot of people who don't know Marv Albert since he's been retired, and he retired in the early '90s because Marv is in his 80s now. And right. So, but Marv, I used to sit by the radio and the TV and listen to him. Alex Leela Celtic 65-64 side jump. Yes, and it's good. Rivers over the Johnson, back to Frazier from the inside side jump, long hook. Yes, Alex Leela Celtics. And we'll take a break and we'll go right back to Matt Hatfield.
Oh my gosh, that was fantastic! Listen,
there you go, Matt.
If we didn't put your picture, they would think that was Marv. That's so good. Listen, you have a gift, and the Lord has blessed you like He has me, and I'm so thankful I've gotten to meet you over the years and work with you. It's been an absolute treat, and I'm proud to call you a friend, not just a colleague as well. Well, Demetrius Means, Northern Neck broadcasting treasure, And I will say, you are an icon to the folks there on the Northern Neck and all that you've done. We thank you for your years of service, and we wish you all the best on whatever's next in your chapter, what God has planned for you in store on the mic, whether it be here in the 757 or in the 804 or anywhere in Virginia or beyond. Always a pleasure, my friend, and we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely, Matt. You know I care about you as I do so many other people. You've been a good friend, a great friend, and, keep doing what you're doing, brother, because you don't go into different levels, and I appreciate what you do, and thanks for having me on.
Likewise. Thank you, my friend. Demetrius Means, one of the best to do it on the mic, former sports talk show and commentator for 101.7 Bay FM in Kilmarnock, Virginia, Lancaster Red Devils. And, of course, he's done all kinds of broadcasting work, ODU football, sideline reporting, VSU women's basketball, NFHS Network, and so much more. Our guest here on 757 Sports Talk, powered by Cova Sports TV. We'll take a timeout. We got more coming your way. Don't touch that dial. You're watching 757 Sports Talk. Make sure you hit the like button, the share button, and subscribe button. And we'll be back right after this. Stay tuned.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
Cova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit covapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 Meal Deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Where do zombies like to go swimming? The Dead Sea.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we welcome you back to 757 Sports Talk, powered by Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, as it's now time to go over everything happening in the high school football scene. We say thank you to Demetrius Means for his conversation with us. Our man Woody tuning in, enjoyed it. And Pool Man, that's right, Woody. Pool Man is back. You gotta love Pool Man. Don't shake your head, Edward. Don't shake your head.
Blame it all on Woody. Woody, you are the instigator. You keep perpetuating it. And I'm disappointed, Woody. I'm disappointed. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Maybe you need to go hang out with the zombies. Let's dial it up from Thursday night, shall we, Ed, as there were a lot of games, and I do mean a lot of games with high school football around the 757. And what district do we begin with from Thursday? But we'll start in the Beach, where the Bayside Marlins put on a whooping on the Princess Anne Cavaliers, doing so by a count of 67-0. You had Bayside in the picks, as did I, but not quite to that tune, as it was an easy one for John White and company. And they will get ready to host Cox next week, who had themselves a not-so-easy time against the Lansdowne Eagles. Actually trailed that game against Lansdowne on Thursday 20-5. Couple of early touchdown passes. Anthony Turner through the air. He found Aiden Ross. And Lansdowne was off and humming. But the Falcons came back. And Zakir Simmons, after that 56-yard touchdown run for the Eagles, put them ahead 20-5. Tyree Jeffries broke off a 39-yard scoring run. Falcons had a chance to tie it on a 2-point conversion. Don't get it, but guess what? At the end of the game, down 20-18, it was Bryson Widholm with his second field goal of the night after trailing by as many as 15 in the third quarter, and Tyler Noe's crew refused to die. Cox 21, Bayside 20. Your reaction, I'm sorry, Cox 21, Lancetown 20. Your reaction to that as it sets up maybe the game of the week in the beach next week with Cox and Bayside.
That was a game I kind of went back and forth on a little bit, settling with Cox to win it. Just felt maybe Lancetown could get off to a pretty good start this year. And again, not knowing exactly what each team has, the game kind of went the way I thought it was in my mind. It would be a close game, back and forth. Whoever had the ball last would win it. So that one was there. I give Cox the credit, but Lancetown, they'll have something to say about championships.
How about Kellum and First Colonial? Backyard rivalry game, Ed. It was Kellum victorious over FC in its matchup as the Knights got it done 35-15. Wide receiver by the name of Aaron Smith. Watch out for him at a 58-yard reception that set up a score. Found the end zone a couple of times. Brody McClellan, shout out to him. He had an interception and a key score. Knights under Coach Brian Neese got it done over FC 35-15 as they've now won, I believe, 12 of the last 13 in that series, and looking like a team that could be a little sneaky out of the beach as well. Also from the Beach District, it was Green Run comfortably over Tallwood in the coaching debut of one Glenwood Fairby. We had him on the show in the summertime, now at the helm of Tallwood. He's a Green Run alum. They were at home at Tallwood. It was scoreless after one quarter of play, but when it was all said and done, 44 straight Beach District regular season wins for Brandon Williams and the Stallions, as the Stallions got it done behind 140 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns from Old Dominion commit Charles Jackson. And Xavier Clark had a big game, well over 150 all-purpose yards, 43-yard catch in that one too. Newcomer to Green Run as the Stallions won with ease. Tough game in the beach that was maybe the night game of the night in terms of competitiveness outside of that Cox-Lancetown game, which got close in the fourth quarter, and that was Salem-Kempsville, which was tight throughout. It was the one disagreement we had. You took Salem. I decided to go back to my roots and take Kempsville. Why, I'm not sure. Well, Kempsville had a 10-point lead in that game, Ed, but Salem came roaring back. A couple long runs for them in that game as they were able to restore the order for them over there at Salem High School, thanks to the running that they had of one Jalen Hudson. He was big in that game for Salem. And I'm sorry, not Hudson. They had a big game from Hardin. It was Jason Hardin who had 147 yards rushing on 14 attempts, big long run in the second half, 90 yards that gave them the breathing room. And Kempsville thought they had a potential tying winning touchdown in the fourth quarter. It was called back on a penalty. But your reaction to that in the beach, as it looks like there's going to be some topsy-turviness, even though Green Run is still the dominant team in that league.
Yeah, I might have mentioned this last week when we did our preview show. It's Green Run and everybody else. Now, going for second, I think we both agreed Salem, but Kempsville's right there. Salem-Kempsville, picking that game was tough too. I just thought Cox and Lancetown was more of a flip-it game. They were a little closer to each other. I think Salem's a pretty safe bet for number 2, but not guaranteed. I think Green Run number 1 is guaranteed. So I could see that why that game was close. And as you said, Kempsville had a 10-point lead to begin with, but then Salem showed the resolve, came back and took a close game. But I think you're going to see that a lot in the Beach District, that fight for number 2, Salem, Kempsville. But Cox should be in that mix. Let's see what Lancetown does. And how about Bayside? 67 points, 53 in the first half. Yeah. I didn't see that coming. Now, I know PA is still trying to get themselves going, but maybe this is a year. Bayside, we talk about Bayside and John White a lot, and then they kind of stub their toe in a few games, and then they can't really get it going. Maybe this win here, showing that they can put points on the board. Now, it remains to be seen. 67 against PA. Against PA, and 67 against a Green Run or Salem. It's way two different situations. But you don't need 67 as long as you get one more point than your opponent. Maybe Bayside can be that team that really challenges Salem and for number 2, and maybe gives Green Run a run for their money.
It's a possibility. I think Green Run now implementing this running game with Jackson, Tristan Williams, and being that type of team that can get physical is going to help them a great deal as they go on that playoff march. We know about them able to throw the football, all those skill athletes they have on the outside. And then they have some big people up front like Cam Johnson, who's going to Virginia Tech off the edge defensive force. And Tommy Wilder, the big offensive tackle, who just stands out. He hovers over everybody how big he is. I want to see some things, how they shake out. Does Cox have enough to sustain this? They've had so much late game drama the last couple years. Tyler know, but these game-winning field goals, these comeback wins. They've had some wild and zany finishes. Bayside's got that quarterback now returned to them in one. Cam Kirby coming back from Indian River. He was with the Marlins as a freshman sophomore. Can he put them on his back as a dual threat guy? They certainly had success running the football against PA, but their defense is really not the level of other teams they'll see in the district. And again, I mentioned earlier that Aaron Smith kid at Killam is really, really good. He could be one of the breakout names we talk about in the Beach this year. He's gotten already a lot of recruiting attention, got an ACC offer from Wake Forest this week. He is one to keep an eye on. So some neat storylines there. Will Salem's defense be able to get better as this year goes on? I think it's going to be important for them because they have some weapons like Kassir Patterson catching the football at receiver, and a new quarterback in Lyndon Curls getting him the ball. Green Run's got a new quarterback in Luke Ashcraft who's distributing the ball. So a lot of things to watch here. It's just 1 week done in the Beach. Let's go to the out-of-district results from Thursday night in the 757. And a couple of games that caught my eye, Ed. Norview, a winner over Great Bridge, 25-20. We had Carlin Farabee on the show, and he's got himself a win in his debut. Also victorious in his debut was Dietrich Avens of Manor, 28-8. It was initially reported 22-8. It was 28-8. I heard they got a really good running game that gave Denby fits. Intercepted Kevin Parker 3 times, the talented junior quarterback for Denby. And oh my goodness, how about Manor? None of us saw this coming. Manor gets the win over Denby. Cause for concern for a team you picked to finish 4th in the PD, sir?
Yeah, they're not making me look good. Not making me look good. Did he go to that Indian River game?
We'll get to them coming up on our Friday look. We're still at
Denby, I thought would take down Manor. I did pick them 4th, a surprising 4th in the peninsula. I think you had Bethel.
I had Bethel, yeah.
And now they open up with that loss to Manor. Now, you talk with Kevin Parker, the player, the quarterback, and I guess in that interview, it just seemed to me, as a coach, you look for every little thing. Kevin in his talk was so distracted. I know there was a lot going on, but he also talked about being focused. The coach is getting on the kids about being focused and playing. And I'm starting to wonder, maybe Denby, they know they can be good, but until they win games, especially those close games or come from behind game where the focus is a main point, maybe they're going to struggle. I don't know. But it's just something little that I noticed in that interview. And I'm not saying Kevin Parker screwed up. Let's make sure that's clear before he gets out there. I think the kid is a tremendous talent, both on the basketball court and the football field. And I think Denby they'll right the ship and then do it. But that was a win I was pretty sure they would get, and they didn't. So you don't get those back.
Other games from Thursday, Kickitan gets Zachary James his first win. They had a winless first campaign. We say morning to our pal Jason Bryan out there watching on the YouTube stream. Hope you're doing well, Jason. Windsor, our buddy Benjamin Du Bois, who we had on the show last year from the Dukes. They beat Lakeland, another game that you doubted them. I did too. I'm not going to just say it was just you.
Surprise.
Churchland, how about them on offense? Logan Wynn had a big day. The sophomore quarterback for the Truckers. You heard from Dontrell Leonard on our preview show, Ed, and they put up a 50 on the board in their win over Grassville to spoil the coaching debut of one. Mike Beal, Logan Wynn with 4 touchdown passes, 17 of 23, 297. Truckers also had 229 yards rushing. He might be a player of the year candidate. Player of the week candidate, and maybe a player of the year candidate too, for that matter. So Logan Wynn with sophomore with a big night there for the Truckers. And also on Thursday, you had Western Branch a winner 35-7 over Menchville. A couple of scores in that one after a 58-yard pick six right before the break from Michael Singletary for Menchville. No relation to the great linebacker from the Chicago Bears. Gregory McNeil found the end zone a couple times, and Sage Green Sessoms 65-yard punt return for a score. Aiden Waters also found the end zone for the Bruins. And Western Branch goes to Catholic next week. We didn't talk about Western Branch at all in our Southeastern District preview show. Did we make a mistake? Are they a team that might challenge for the top 4?
I think Western Branch is good. I think they can put points on the board in terms of challenging your Oscar Smiths, your Kings Fork, your Nansemond River, your Indian River.
Mm-hmm.
I would say at best 5th. Well, again, talk is cheap. You got to do it on the field.
So if I'm getting it right, a lot of these wins just came over cellar dweller teams that we're highlighting. Nice comeback for Cox down big, but it was against a Lansdale team that's still very young. Nice win for Bayside, but come on now. PA's been winless and might be headed for another season. Menchville, they're not an upper team in the PD. So don't get too excited about Western Branch, Bayside, Cox just yet. And maybe that'll sprinkle into Friday where Indian River beat Granby, who was so good the last couple of years as far as surprise story, handily. I mean, there were some shellackings on Friday, which we'll get to. But again, Lake Telluride against a Heritage team that might not be that great right now. I'm rebuilding. New coach with Shamari Wright. And another one, Bethel. Very impressive numbers. Oh, my gosh, they're going to go challenging the PD. Hold on now. It's still Phoebus and Warwick and Hampton, but they did it against a Patrick Henry Ashland team that's only got 6 returning starters, still very young.
Yeah, point well taken. But I think in any sport, let alone football, that first win, opening game, probably more important in football than any sport because football plays the least amount of games in a regular season. You take any win. You don't get caught up in, well, that team was picked to win 0 games. That team was picked to be in last place. That team lost everybody. You still, when you take that field, that floor, you don't know. I mean, you want to win because winning in high school is so important for mentality, self-esteem, all of that business. College and pro level, sometimes they, even though it's a short amount of games, they can say, okay, well, we got the next game coming. High school's not like that. And we're not shortchanging anybody. So, again, people are listening. Don't be going out there saying, Hatfield and Young were saying that win by so-and-so didn't mean nothing because they played a last-place team. Nobody said that. Okay, it's the fact that mark yourself against your better opponents if you're a team marching to the playoffs because that's the type of teams you'll see in the playoffs, those really, really good teams.
Mm-hmm.
But you do want to have a lot of things in place. You do want to have situations going. Yeah, let's take Windsor beating Lakeland. Now, we haven't talked about those teams all year. We don't look for those, great years. We don't know. The districts are tough, but you and I both picked Lakeland without a doubt over Windsor. And Ben, we're not discouraging what your team is. You have done a heck of a job at Windsor. Period. But that was a surprise win. Now that's going to ballyhoo Windsor. They got to be feeling good for whoever the next opponent is. Got to see what happens, but you got to sustain it. That's the whole idea. You got to sustain it. And when you do play those stronger teams, people are going to say, okay, let's see what you do now. Because that's how they mark you. Because if you're a playoff team, that's the type of team you play later.
Bill Heffelfinger, hope I got the name right there. Apologize if I messed it up there, Bill. Says to us, quarterback from Indian River was the real deal, but the story was absolute domination by the River Lions. Does that say more about River or Granby? Great question on X there, Bill. I think it says more about Granby having graduated so much. But I'll tell you what, whether he was 15 of 15, 15 of 16, 16 of 17, Malik Haru, Lord Malik Haru, Lord of mercy. I see what they call him Lord because every time he completes it, they go, Lord of mercy. Look at that young kid throw the ball. But he having that type of spotless night, almost, basically flawless night, says a lot to me. I get that. But at Granby, I kind of try to say this nicely in the previous show. I didn't think they were going to be a real threat in the Eastern District. I was surprised. Some other people had them picked in the top 4 because my initial thought was they had so much they lost. Good morning, Keith. I heard you were not at the Lafayette Smithfield game. Well, what gives, Keith? Come on. Spill the beans. Tell us what was going on there.
Keith. I came to Smithfield football last night mainly to see you. And I got confused because I met another Keith in this bizarro world who was the mascot last night for Smithfield. But I thought it was the other Keith who was the mascot before. So now I'm totally confused. And not only was I looking for you, a whole lot of people I heard at Smithville were saying, where's Keith? Where's Keith? So, Keith, where were you last night? Come clean. Don't lie. What's going on? Tell us. Put it up there. Where did you go? If you saw another game, it's okay. Just say it. If you were out with the lady, just say it. It's okay. Don't tell us what you did. Just say you were out. It's okay. But I was looking forward to seeing you, and now we just have to put that meeting off. And while Keith is getting ready to type up in there, Indian River Granby, what's it more and say about? You say Granby because, they've lost a lot. Whatever. I think it also shows a lot about Indian River. They got weapons.
Sure.
And by the way, to have the name Lord, can you imagine that? Because somebody come up and
Lord
say,
Malik Haru. They call him Lord.
Yeah.
I think his name's Malik, but Lord Malik Haru. Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, man, are you Lord? Are you the Lord? Yes, I am. Bless you.
Keith was sick yesterday. Probably. You know what, Keith? I'm sick today. I'm thinking Ed Young.
Keith, you're sick every other. You're sick every other week. It seems. What is going on with you? Stay healthy, my man. You got COVID, just upset stomach. What do you got? I know we're getting personal. Probably shouldn't even ask you. It's not my business.
You're spending way too much time on this. We're talking about high school football. And you're actually with Keith here.
Keith, just rest up and get better, and don't come to the game if you're sick.
Well, real quickly before we take a break and go more into the Friday games, and I want to we teased it earlier. We've been saving it. We got NFL over-unders for the NFC coming up too. I want to get your take on the big games, which you haven't talked about. We spent an hour. I hadn't talked to Oscar Smith and Maury. But your takeaway of Thursday's results, we also forgot to mention earlier, Thomas Jefferson of Richmond beat Norcom 14-0, and Currituck for the second time in 3 years beat Andre Twine's Deep Creek Hornets. So we'll get to the Friday games, which included some private schools, some Western Tidewater games, the Bay Rivers games, the non-district games that were including some out-of-state matchups, and a big one today that Woody talked about earlier with Warwick and Mallard Creek. But your big takeaway from Thursday, is it somebody needs a win now to bounce back? Is it a Kempsville needs a win? Is it Lansdowne needs to shake it off with Tala coming up? Is it one of those teams looking impressive? Cox getting a win, big game with Bayside coming up. Is it somebody Western Branch got a chance to be a sleeper here? What was your takeaway of the Thursday results, if anything? I think there was more takeaways outside the 757. Watched some really good games with Stonebridge Madison and Battlefield North Stafford, among others. But was there any takeaway?
Denby, Kempsville, Deep Creek.
Okay, those three. Tough losses for Deep Creek, and Denby got to bounce back, and Kempsville has to bounce back too, you say. Okay.
I just think that it's none of them want to go 0-2. So my thing would be those teams got to come up with a win. Kempsville's probably the better of those teams, or at least more preseason eyes on them. So they go 0-2. It's going to be like,
Denby's got Norview next week, 12 noon game at Todd, so they could get to 1-1 if they beat them. Norview could also get to 2-0 if they win it. Meanwhile, for Deep Creek, real quickly, they have a bye week, then they host Kings Fork, then host Hickory. If they're not careful and lose both of those, they could be 0-3 going to Nance River before October even hits, and that's not great. As for Kempsville on the schedule, they host Princess Anne, then host Bayside, bye week, Green Run. So if they get those 2 wins before the bye week, now you're back in business before the Green Run matchup. So,
right, that's a good way to look at it. And those coaches got to, get back to the drawing board. But you can't just change everything. I mean, you got to fix. Like we talked earlier about the college game with Norfolk State and Colorado. Now you got to see what you did wrong. That's why they get on film like crazy. Try to make those adjustments, fix them so that you can win. You don't want to start panicking in game number 2, like, oh, we have to win. Man, everybody wants to win every game. It's just teams that already lost one. That ain't going to happen. So you just don't want to get that 0-2, 0-3, 0-4. Now, because the season's only 10 games. So that's where you got to be worried. And
coming up, we're going to
Gene Jones herself got on there about he's new principal, Riverside High School in Durham, North Carolina. So good job, Gino.
All right, coming up, we're going to talk more about what happened in high school football action on Friday night, including Oscar Smith falling to Gonzaga of Washington, D.C. by a count of 17-0, and Maury in a back-and-forth affair, losing a close one to Cardinal Gibbons 24-20. It's all coming your way here on 757 Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe. You're watching on Cova Sports TV.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
Hey, all you crazy cats and kids. We're back with joke time. What has more letters than the alphabet? A post office.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we're back here on 757 Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to Cova Sports TV and interact with us. Let's now go through the Friday high school football action around Hampton Roads and beyond, Ed, as a couple of teams hit the big stage to national spotlight games. Oscar Smith, which came into its matchup with Gonzaga, having a rough go of things in out-of-state games since 2009, just at 2-7 overall. Their lone wins in that stretch over West Forsyth of North Carolina. And Burns, you remember, not Burns, they lost to Burns, Venice out of Florida. They beat Venice with Trey Burton back in 2009 after they won the state championship the year before with Philip Sims and company. And now they have to look at another L to start the season in an out-of-state showdown type of game because they were beaten by Gonzaga with a 5-star edge guy who was really, really, really good in Carter Meadows going to Michigan. He'll be a teammate of Travis Johnson's. With a big tackle going to Penn State, with a lot of size, a lot of athleticism. Oscar Smith's offense, their quarterback Lonnie Anderson III, under duress the entire night. As a blocked punt early put Gonzaga in business. They got the 7-0 lead, pushed it to 14 by halftime, and it's a 17-point win. Encouraging thing is Gonzaga's going to put up 40, 50, a lot of big numbers on many teams. The Smith defense hung in there and did all right. Offensively, just couldn't get anything going. And as experienced and as large as the offensive line is, which is expected to be a strength for this team on this quest for a repeat, they just could not handle the relentless pressure that Gonzaga put forth against them.
I think I picked Gonzaga. Therefore, I'm not surprised. Gonzaga, perennial power, DC area. Division I recruits all over the place. Big linemen who can play and move. So I'm not surprised. And for people to start saying, oh my God, Smith, and we'll talk about Maury also coming up. What's going on? Our powerhouse are losing. Again, look who they're playing. There is a lot of good football outside of the 757/Virginia. Okay, people understand this now. If you've never gotten out of your basement, get out of it. There's a lot of powerhouse teams. Gonzaga is one of them. And Smith, and I said this last week, most coaches, when they opening game, they want to probably hopefully play somebody you have a great chance against. I don't want to say cupcakes and all that, but you want somewhere where you can put your stuff in, play some kids, and you get a win out of it. Everybody feels good. Let's go on to the next one. But when you're like a Smith or a Maury, you want to open up against a power from another state, area, whatever, you don't have that luxury. You have to be on your toes. You're not playing the whole roster. You've got to really execute. You're going to have people in your face all night long. When a receiver looks open and you throw it, and all of a sudden here comes a D-back ready to intercept it because those kids can run a 4.4, 4.42, whatever it is, 40. There you go. That's the risk you take when you open up against powers. And right. Some of those coaches say, hey, I'm not playing nobody easy. I want to play against a team that we're going to be tight. We'd play in a state championship because that's where we want to be. I have no problem with that. Those coaches, hats off to you. That's fine. But you run the risk of getting beat and sometimes getting beat bad. And if you can handle that and fix it and run the rest of your schedule, not a problem. It's not a problem. So these people that get all upset about all our power teams lose every year to these power teams, there is good football outside the state of Virginia. So please understand that.
There is, and we've talked about that before, and we'll talk about that again. And it really underscores the point that I hit on my Hats Hits IG Live special as well. But, Ed, it also gets to how big is a bounce-back spot for Oscar Smith coming up. We talked about it earlier in the show with Kempsville Deep Creek and with Denby all needing to respond in a big way. Oscar Smith has Warwick coming up on Friday. Now, the Raiders have Mallard Creek to start the season at Todd Stadium, a high noon kick. But Oscar Smith does not want to ever fall to 0-2, and then now you're really digging out of a hole in that sense, defending state champs. I'm like you. I feel like it's a little bit more overreaction. But as we flip it to Maury takes an L, 24-20, back-and-forth game with Cardinal Gibbons. They get a really sweet touchdown to put them ahead after they were behind. I think it was Elijah Moss-Williams, if my memory served me right, watching that on NFHS, the JMU commit. Receiver for them, Tayshawn Branch, had some nifty runs. Damo Everett had a really good scramble for them at the quarterback spot. But Cardinal Gibbons is able to give them some fits in terms of moving the football in bunches. As I look at some of the numbers from that game that are at my fingertips here as I pull them up here, the thing that got me was the timely conversions, the third downs, the sort of the big plays that were chunk plays, but not like 50, 60-yard gainers, the 15, 20-yard completions that were enormous. Maury actually outgained him in terms of first downs, 18-13. The penalties were even about 8-7, but they had 168 yards passing from the Wake Forest commit Gannon Jones on 14 of 18 for 164 and 2 scores. And it wasn't like they ran the ball down Maury's throat, just 26 attempts for 48 yards. And a bounce back even harder for Maury than Oscar Smith in this regard. Next 2 games for Maury, Verina, who's the number 1 team in the state on Virginia Preps, in Class 4. Yes, we have them number 1, just ahead of 4-time defending state champ Phoebus. We know they feel disrespected, and we get why they feel disrespected, because they've been disrespected by people, not necessarily us, but people in general. And now Maury has to show, all right, we don't want to get to 0-2 and then be in a spot at home where home opener, we got 2 L's after a 30-game winning streak. So Doree McCain's Commodores, what's your view where they are?
Well, and again, Maury has the they've opened up there with 3 powers. Okay, Verina's not out of state, but you just said how good they are. They're up there, potential state championship team.
Answer this for me real quick, by the way. Someone told me last night, real quick, I want to get your take on that. Why you say that Maury didn't beat anybody good last year except Green Run in the region state semifinals, should say. Green Run, and the other team that they beat was Wise out of Maryland. It was a down year for Dinwiddie, down year for Highland Springs. What is your reaction to Maury's 30 straight wins were not great? Is that a little bit of hating? Would you call that hating?
No. Yes.
It's not hating, or it is hating.
It is. They're hating on them. You know, you didn't play anybody. Your wins are hollow. You know, right. Being a coach, I laugh at that kind of stuff. And, you know, when people can't reach your level, they try to bring you down to theirs.
Mm-hmm. So Derek was at the game. Yeah, Derek was at the game. They're right, bring you down to levels. Well, this brings down Maury down a level. They wanted to go to a national level, and this loss prevents them from doing that, just like it is with Oscar Smith. So as we get ready to head to break and then come back with more from Friday's action, including nice wins for Indian River and Bethel, which we sort of touched on briefly. We'll hit on a couple of the plays of note. Your thought on why the teams in Virginia, and not just Maury and Oscar Smith, this is widespread. You got more games coming up with out-of-state teams. You got Verina playing in Grimsley out of North Carolina, Highland Springs playing Huff out of North Carolina. You got Ironton out of Ohio taking on Liberty Christian, a defending champ. Graham lost to Bluefield. Why are the Virginia teams not able to flex their muscles against the teams from West Virginia, Ohio, Florida, North Carolina, Maryland, D.C.? Why, and will it change?
I don't think I'm going to say this. That's not a big deal. They're playing good talent, good teams, happen to be from another state, and they couldn't get over the hump to beat them. Now, if we were 0-100 in 100 games against our powers against other teams' powers, I'd say, well, Virginia, your football is good within the area, but it isn't good nationally, and leave it at that. But we're not 0 and whatever. Yes, we've taken it on the chin. I admire those teams for going out and play those people, especially on the road. That's not easy. It's a completely different environment, different officials. And I'm not going to sit here and hang a loss on officials. But everybody has seen home cooking at its finest. Even when teams come here, they'll say, man, we ain't never seen officials like this. So we'll hang our hat on wherever we can. I do not begrudge any of our teams that have gone out and lost. I don't say that, oh, man, we're not as good. Those are hollow type champions. No. You went out against powers is what you wanted to do. Things didn't work out. They won. Now you come back, fix it. Will you be in the state championship game? And if you are and you win the state championship, who cares? You lost to Gonzaga, Cardinal Gibbons, whoever. You got your state championship. How many other teams can say that? So I don't look at it as a big deal. I don't sit here and worry because you're playing power teams. And you know,
but you're not touching on how do our power teams in VA elevate to be at the same level and beat those power teams? How does it happen? What will it require for those teams, be it Smith, Maury, whoever it is, fill in the blank, smaller schools like Graham, Liberty Christian, what will it require? What will it take to beat those teams within reason? Don't give me some willy-nilly off-the-cuff crazy answer. What will it require?
Play them at home. Even though coaches love going on the road.
Well, if these are home and homes, they'll come to these places in 757 in 2026.
And then you got to flip the script if they're coming to you.
So you're saying we wait till next year if they lose those games by 7 to 14 points as opposed to 4 to 20 points or whatever it might be, 4 to 7 as opposed to 10 to 20. Then you come up with a solution. I'm wondering what are the steps to do to get I
think you making a bigger deal out of it, or some people are. I don't. You're going out and get tested. That's what you asked for. Yes, you want to win the games. Come on now. Scoreboard's up. I want to win every game. But did you still get something out of it that is going to help you the rest of the way? That you're going to turn that performance into a better performance to beat your opponents to get to your ultimate goal, state championship. I would ask people this on the street, would you, and I'll use Oscar Smith, would you rather smash Gonzaga on the road and not win a state title, or lose by 50 to Gonzaga and win a state title? I'm taking the state title.
And I get that, but it feels like you're dodging, and we'll go to break here. I don't want to keep dwelling on this or harping on it. It feels like they're now 2-8 in out-of-state matchups. They aspire to be a national brand, a national program, as do a lot of these great teams. And rightfully so, because what they've done there, from Rich Morgan, through the patriarch, to the late, great Bill D. and Scott Johnson, are now carried over by Chris Scott and his coaching staff and players and those involved, has been tremendous. Same goes for what Doreen McCain has built, essentially from scratch at Maury. Back-to-back state titles, 3 rings since 2019. 7 straight region titles? Fantastic. Jeremy Blunt at Phoebus, outstanding what Phoebus has done. Winning streaks that have ranked with the best in the country. There's a lot of great programs in Virginia. I'm not dismissing that. But when they go in these matchups where they want to show, all right, our brand of football, what we do is just as good as what you all do, they come up just a little short sometimes. Not always shellacked. I mean, there was a case where Smith got blown out by Bosco of California. That's a super freak team. I get that. Cardinal Gibbons was really good. I watched that game. They weren't super freak. They had a couple super freaks, but they weren't all super freaks. And the same with the Maury game. Talking about Gonzaga was Maury, Cardinal Gibbons. That was a winnable game for Maury. So they're right there. Just a couple of plays here and there. And I'm like you. I definitely can see Maury winning a state title again. Same with Smith, and same potentially with Phoebus. Does feel like there's a little more vulnerability for those teams. Doesn't say that they're bad or vulnerable, but some things to have to iron out and clean up than in some years past, and a few more question marks than normal. That's
if you're going to play a national level schedule and you're going to go out and play, and I know you don't want to hear it, but I'm going to say it. Schools like Gonzaga who recruit all over the country, okay, then you're going to have to do the same thing. You're not going to be able to get your backyard players, put them together, great discipline. We got some talent. Now let's go beat Gonzaga. And I'm not harping on Oscar Smith. I'm just using Gonzaga.
Right. No, I get it. And the resources aren't in place for our schools to do that. Now, there is a school in our state that can change this, as someone commented on social. Let's see what Daryl Overton does at St. James, because he won rings at Freedom of Woodbridge. They got in some hot mess water trouble, whatever you call it, at Hatfield. Didn't finish up the year. But St. James, with that facility, which we've been to, which you marveled at, they have the resources to maybe build that. And it might require getting players from other schools in our state and going outside nationally to do that. But is that the only team that you could see doing that on that level from our state?
If everybody does what St. James is about to do, and St. James is going to recruit kids, from all over, it's going to happen. All right. That type of mentality is, well, we're not really playing for a state championship. We want to be considered a national power. Okay, is there a national championship they're playing for? Then that's what they would go for. And again, you have to ascertain where your program is and what are you going to do about it. Are you going to jump into the portal and grab as many players as you can? And I'll say that as jokingly because we don't have portal in high school, but yes, we do.
Sure.
Or you just going to take what comes in the door, coach them up, okay, which was what we're supposed to do, and you're going to take care of your schedule, meaning try to march to the playoffs, try to win a state championship, and stay out of the deep end of the pool, using your scenarios, stay out of the deep end of the pool with the nationals type schedule. And again, I've told people this, I'd rather win a state title in my state than say, I beat Bosco, I beat Gonzaga, I beat IMG. Okay, so what? What did you do the rest of your schedule? Now, the teams that are going to come next and say, oh, wait a minute, Maury, you're not as strong as we thought you are. Smith, you got shut out. We can do. Okay, good luck. Let's see you beat those teams, because Smith, Maury, whoever goes out and plays these national teams and lose, they're still going to win 90% of their games in the state.
Agreed.
Period. So if I'm dodging the question, it's because I don't see it as a big deal. If you're a coach that says, I'm going to test my team early, I'm going to go on the road, and I'm going to play national level teams. Okay. Now you do understand, not only could you lose, you can get smashed. Okay. You can get embarrassed by what you're playing because they're that good too. All right. It'd be like, let's say a national power, a little less comes to play Maury at Maury. We want to go against Virginia's best, and Maury wins it. Do we sit there and say, oh, Maury, you're not playing the national schedule. That team wasn't that good.
Well, your natural comeback should have been, to me, Maury beat Wise the last 2 years from Maryland, who was one of the more respected teams. So why was this not an issue then and it is now? That would have been your way to come back at me here.
Yeah,
but it feels like you're unlike your interview when you went in for Smith and became their basketball coach, as you tried to build on your legendary 500+ wins as a high school head coach. You didn't dodge their interview questions. I feel like you're dodging mine and just telling me I don't like your questions. That's what it feels like. So that's all.
No, most of your questions are very good. And every once in a while you have some stupid questions, but I respect all of them because that's your job. But you're making a bigger deal out of it than what it is.
Well, I mean, if you read social media, which I know you do.
Who cares about social media? Again, you're talking to a coach, so you got to be careful. I'll use me. When the pundits say, well, he didn't play nobody. Okay. What's your record? Oh, you don't coach a team, but you got mouth. Okay. Come to me, my face, and tell it to me to my face. Let me have a chance to rebuttal face to face, not behind my back. All right. How I choose to get my team ready for an ultimate goal of a state championship is my business. Because my first, whatever word I can put in there is to my team.
I get that. You've established that. We get that. But I was just curious what you think it would require. And you touched on some of it a little bit in a roundabout way. It took us a long way to get there. We went through the trees and the forest, but we dodged a couple of potholes, but we got there, I think. So.
Yeah, because with you sometimes, with the way you have brainstorms, I have to do that to make you understand.
Brainstorms or brainstorms?
Yeah, you have brainstorms.
Okay.
Now, if we were, and you already told me we weren't, if we were 0 for the world against all the powers forever, then I'd be here saying, damn, Matt, you're right.
We're not 0 for the world, but 2-8 is not a great batting average. It's batting 200. That means you could bat in the 8 or 9 hole for the New York Yankees. That's what it means. Okay. That's what it means.
Yankees.
All right.
Yeah, don't get me started on the Yankees.
No, we're not doing that today.
Yankees,
Not today.
Yeah. We could hit 1,000,000 home runs, but we can't bunt the ball. Okay,
today.
Again, in defense of those teams doing it, and they don't need my defense. Keep doing what you're doing. If you lose it, try to get it fixed as long as you take care of the rest of the season. And anybody that's connected with a team, coach, player, and says, oh, well, they didn't do nothing. Who did you play in the opening round? Sisters of the Poor and won 92-0? Okay, enjoy your season. So that's how I look at it. This thing about social media, the world tells coaches and teams what they should be doing. I can tell you what you should be doing, but I'm a nice guy and we're on a podcast, so I don't want to say it out loud.
All right, stick around. We've got more coming, including our NFL over-unders for the NFC and a couple of quick thoughts before we bid adieu on this particular edition of 757 Sports Talk. You're watching it.
Stay out of the deep end of the pool so you don't run into the fool.
It's Cova Sports TV.
Did you know that the minimum limits in Virginia are $30,000? $30,000 is a lot of money on an individual basis, but if you're involved in a personal injury matter, that's not enough. Here at Williams-Deloitte, we're happy to provide a consultation on the amount of coverage you have in your vehicle. It can be confusing. Not many people understand it. You know you need to have it, but do you have enough? Give us a call today at 757-547-5555 so we can help you prepare in the case of an automobile accident or any other personal injury matter that you or your family may find yourself in.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why there's CHKD Sports Medicine. Advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger, fries, drink, and a sundae. No time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. Right now at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us. And the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
It's 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and the one and only Coach Ed Young, every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Cova Sports TV. From high school football and basketball to the NFL, MLB, college sports, and the NBA, if it's making headlines, they are breaking it down. Bold takes, big-time guests, and a few laughs, especially at the expense of that basketball coach Ed Young. Catch it on Cox TV and your view, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube at Cova Sports TV.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
That was video from our man Dwight Vick of his nephew Derek Fisher of the Bethel Bruins. He's got some moves, Ed. You heard from him last week on our show. He and Maury Pryor ran the ball 21 times for 223 yards and 4 TDs. And Fisher, that was his 75. I checked that. That was not his 75-yard touchdown on a punt return. That was his 66-yard touchdown catch as the Bruins rolled up 489 yards of offense in a 53-0 trouncing of the Granby. Not the Granby Comets. That was Indian River of the Granby Comets. Bethel's 53-0 trouncing of the Patriots of Patrick Henry Ashland. But you had a 59-0 beatdown.
When you get waterlogged in the brain. This is what I've been trying to tell people. Woody, you encourage him, and now look what happens. Water on the brain. He don't know who the heck is playing who.
No, Lake Taylor beat Heritage 59 donut as Madgerald Clark, Kevin Adams, and Keon Johnson were great. It was Bethel over Patrick Henry, 53-0, and Indian River over Granby by a wide, convincing margin as well of 50-plus points. The Braves with Malik Haru leading the way. Casey Jordan on the defense, 55-0. Jason Preston, a couple touchdown catches. Got to shout out all these guys when we can as we continue on here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. So while the powers that be, as JH says, Pryor, Fisher, Pinckney, all impressive. Yeah, that guy off the edge, Mr. Pinckney, Will Garlick saw it because he went from both games, LT Heritage at Todd to Bethel, PH Ashland at Darling. They were mighty, mighty good, even though a couple of our powers did take L's. A couple of private school winners, by the way, Nansemond Suffolk over Isle of Wight and Atlantic Shores over Roanoke Catholic, as Diane Spencer says hello. Major lag this morning, so not even sure this will send. Well, it's sent, Diane. We got your message loud and clear. We thank you for tuning in with us. But it is now time. It is now time here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, and interact with us for our NFL over-unders in the National Football Conference. That is the NFC. Last week, we did the over-unders in the AFC. And if you missed that on the program, and people can see it again, the over-unders, we'll put it up here on the screen. That's what we did for last year and how it played out. And folks, you'll love, as I do here, 11-5 for Hatfield. That's better than Young's 9-7 in the NFC. That's how you get it done, ladies and gents. That's how you beat Edward in the over-unders. But we'll ignore that 17-15 figure for we'll ignore that for Young and Hatfield 16-16. We don't want to talk about that.
Yep. Let's ignore the obvious.
Let that slide.
And let's spotlight the little peon wins that you get so you can feel good. I don't have a problem with that, people. I've had people come up and say to me, hey, your partner's a son of a gun, man. He's always trying to make himself look good and make it. No, people, it's okay.
I don't have to try. You just do it naturally. What is the try here?
I have what's the game we play where
Fact or Fiction?
Yeah, my record is like 82-17.
No, it's not. You've lost like the last 6 meetings to Mike Hatfield, my father.
But I want people to understand it's okay. I'm not upset by it. I want Matt to win. Basically, I'll say it out loud. He's a good dude, and he screws up here and there, but he's a good dude. So I don't mind it. I win most of these type of contests and whatever, but I don't brag about it because it's what I do. It's what I do.
Well, you see the totals for last year. We're going to give you the totals for this year and go in order of alphabetical from the divisions. So we'll start in the NFC least division or East division with the Dallas Cowboys, who are Micah Parsons-less. And I have not seen an updated number, Ed, since the departure of Parsons to Green Bay, but I can tell you what it was prior, and it's probably dropped since. The number was 8.5. I imagine it's now 7.5. And for those who don't know how this works, over-unders is number of wins. You take more wins or less. Last year, you see, it was 9.5. I went under. They won 7. You took over. The year before, they won 12. What's your verdict on the Pokes, who, again, will keep that number for purposes here of where it was, just a week or so ago when we did this. 8.5 for Dallas. Over or under? That feels like the lock of the year as an under.
Okay, so we're let me clarify. So we're going to pick all the teams
in the NFC.
NFC.
You did AFC last week. I don't know where you've been here.
Yeah. Okay. Just want to make sure. Dallas is at 9 and where am I at? 8.5 this year. All right.
No. Listen to me. You're looking at last year's total.
Okay, well, get last year's total out of there.
I don't know. You pay attention. You're distracted with all these kids and stuff running around in your yard. Focus on me here. Focus on me.
I am. Where is this year's over and unders? Is that on the screen?
You've not sent that. Do you not have that document, or did you lose it and you don't pay attention to it?
See, this
That's
is what I got
your fault. You're not paying attention.
I have this year's. I have it.
Right.
Why do you have last year's crap still on the screen? Is what I'm trying to ask you.
Well, it's not crap. Number one, it was to show people what it was last year and how we did with the over-unders. But if it bothers you so much, I'll gladly take it off the screen right now.
Get it off the screen. That's last year's business. Who cares? I won. All right, that's been already taken care of. You still owe me. I'm waiting. Let's go this year. Come on now.
And Woody's at the Mallard Creek game, by the way. So Woody, take your camera for us and just put it on the screen. Let's see while you're there. We'll pop you on here. You can let people see that.
Plus, and Woody, you got to understand, Mallards always have a lot of fans. Them Ducks are all over the place. All right.
No, they're the Ducks.
Let's go to Dallas. Dallas for this year. They were
over. Here we go. Take two. NFL over-unders to the NFC. You saw that on the screen. It's off the screen now because it doesn't want it. Here we go. NFC over-unders. Dallas Cowboys, 8.5 is the win total for them. That was pre-Micah Parsons trade. We don't have the post-Micah Parsons trade numbers. It's probably 7.5. What do you think either way? Over, under for Dallas. Ed, you go first.
I got Dallas winning 8. I had Dallas winning 10 games. So I'm going to do the update. With Parsons gone, I'll say 8 games, which puts them under. So I take Dallas at the 8.5 as under. I don't care what the new one is. They're 8.5 is what I'm seeing. I'm putting them at 8. I'm going under.
I don't care if it's 8.5. I don't care if it's 8.5, 7.5, 6.5. They're going under. They're going to stink this year, and they're going to be playing for a top draft pick. You heard it here first.
You think they're going to tank? You think they're going to
tank? I do, and I think Dak Prescott by game 6 or 7 might have one of those little elbow injuries, and that could be all she wrote. Their defense is not very good. And by the way, Trayvon Diggs, he's next to go out the door. And then George Pickens by midseason is going to demand a trade. Let's go to the New York football. You can laugh. It is what it is. I mean, hey, the New York football Giants, who are a trendy surprise choice pick for people at 5.5. The reason we put this on the screen from time to time for the audience to see is, well, 5.5, I'm curious how it was last year. What it was 5.5 last year, and they went under with 3. Year before was 6. Hatfield took it over. He was wrong. Young won. He likes that. So, Giants, the number again is 5.5. I'm going to go over. I'll drink the Kool-Aid despite the tough schedule. I think their defensive front is better. And you know what? Quarterbacks, they can play ring around the rosy, pocket full of posy, ashes, they all fall down, and the defensive front will make people fall down just enough to eke out 6 wins. Over.
Well, you got those childhood tunes still in your head. Yeah, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. Giants will win. They're going to win at least 6, so that puts them over. But, yes, a great defensive front line, yes. And, yeah, Marty, this is what I got to deal with, Marty. You understand?
Marty, you can do the show with Ed next week because I'm tapped out with him. He's tapped me out. Let's go now to the Philadelphia
Giants are going to win 6, so they're going to go over.
Okay, so we agree. After all that fighting and Barb's here with us in the ring.
It's not fighting. We're just stating our situations.
Well, people will think we're ready to come to blows. We're not ready to come to blows just yet. Not just yet, Marty. But I tell you what, he beats me next week on the picks like he did last week to make me cranky. I will punch him in the face. Let's go to Philadelphia. The Eagles. Right now, the over-under for the defending Super Bowl champions is 11.5. That's a big number, Ed. You go first.
Yeah, but that division, I'm not sold on anybody other than Eagles. So I'm going 12. I'm going over Eagles.
You know, it's hard to win 12 football games out of 17 in a long season. Jalen Hurts is mighty good. No question about it. And I like the line play for them, even losing Josh Sweat on the defensive front at Oscar Smith High School in Chesapeake to my Arizona Cardinals, who we'll get to a little bit later. But I'm going to go just under. I think they go 11-6, and I do think they'll probably split with the Commanders, and one of those two, Dallas or the Giants, on a good day might even knock them off. The schedule's tricky enough. I'll go 11-6 for the Eagles and just under the total. How about the Commanders of Washington? How about last year what it was? It was a low figure, and we both took the over for them at 5.5. Paid off big time as they more than doubled it with 12 wins after winning just 4 prior to the arrival of Dan Quinn and, of course, Jaden Daniels. Commanders, Terry McLaurin, all set. Daniels year 2. Totals 9.5. And I think they're going to be right there with Philly for the division. I think they'll probably go 10-7, maybe 11-6 if they get that break against the Eagles. Give me over the number for the Commanders from Washington.
I got to agree with you. I feel it's a shaky 10 and won't be surprised if it's less. People are drinking the Commander Kool-Aid really heavy and going for seconds and thirds. I'm not, but I can see 10 wins.
Okay. Let's go to the NFC North division, the NFC North, where you have the Bears of Chicago, you have Detroit, you have Minnesota, and you have Green Bay. But we'll go Green Bay, Minnesota there. Bears total, Caleb Williams, year number 2, the quarterback out of Gonzaga, which just beat Oscar Smith to open up this season. Total for them in the new regime with the former Lions OC at the helm for the Bears is 8.5. That's a big, big number, Ed. You go first. 8.5 for the Bears.
Tough division with Parsons going to Green Bay, Detroit. People are looking at Detroit as sinking down this year for some reason. I have the Bears in last place.
Okay.
So 8.5. Give me under at 8. 8-9 is their record.
Yeah, that first game against the Vikings on Monday Night Football is going to be very telling. I'm going to go under as well. I do like them to be better, but I think it's going to be right there between 8 and 9, and I'll say it. They probably just barely miss it and finish either 8 and 9 or 7 and 10. I don't think they'll quite get there. How about the Detroit Lions? Another hard schedule for them, actually much harder than last year. It's 10.5, one of the highest totals on the board, most except for the Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, and Eagles. 10.5 for the Lions, who certainly can win the division again, but, and I caution this with but, the one thing about 10.5 here is the injuries. Remember, that defense got ravaged by injuries last year. I worry about both coordinators being gone, and I'm going to take the chance that they just miss it and go 10-7. Give me under for the Lions.
Dang, we are like brothers now. I'd say 10 wins. I really want to say 11. But I think not. I think it's 10. Begrudgingly, I'm going to pick 10. I really want to pick 11 and go over, but I will go under at 10.
Okay, let's move on to the Green Bay Packers now with Micah Parsons to lead that defense and try to complement what Jordan Love and the offense can do for them this particular football season. Packers number prior to the trade. Again, we're going with numbers prior to the trade because we don't have the updated numbers. 9.5 for Green Bay as the over-under. You go first for this one.
All right. Again, it's probably going to go over. The new odds will go over, but I'm going to take what it says 9.5.
Yeah.
And therefore, I will take over at 10. I think they'll get to the 10 because, again, that division is going to beat up on each other as they usually do. So I'll give them over at 10. Now, if it goes up to 11 or 12, it's going to be 10. That's what I'm sticking with, over at 10.
Ditto for me. All right, Minnesota Vikings, our man Nick Senti's team, and we joked Nick last year about how they were not going to be that great. 8.5 is the total for them in this particular football season with J.J. McCarthy now making his debut. You see, last year it was 5.5. We both had the under. We were way wrong because they won 14 after winning 7 just the year before. Number this year, again, it's pretty high. It is 8.5, and they can do it. I'm on the fence on this one. They burned me last year. You know what, though? I think they have a decent enough football team to win 9 games. So give it to me. I will go over, but I'll probably regret this one. I do.
No, you won't. You're right. Let's understand they won 14 games last year. No thanks to J.J. McCarthy. So anybody thinks they're going to win 14 this year, you're crazy. Sorry, Nick, you're crazy. I'd say the same thing. 9 wins. What was Green Bay again? 8.5. I can see 9 wins, possibly 10. but they're not winning 14 games this year.
Okay. Looking at the by the way, home games with the Falcons and Bengals early will help them. If they get off to a 3-0 start to go to Pittsburgh, look out. Looking now at the NFC South division, you have the Atlanta Falcons. This is where we start this off. Michael Penix, his second year as the quarterback for them at 7.5. I thought this was a misprint. I still think it's a misprint. This, to me, is the Locker-Rooney, 7.5. They're not great coached. I would love to have seen Belichick go here. He would have maximized them, I think, a lot better and have been a better spot for him than the North Carolina Tar Heels. But 7.5, I love this. One of my favorite plays. Over. Love the roster. Give me it.
I'm going to say agree, too. I think 8, maybe 9. That division is maybe the worst in pro football, so they can get some wins. But, again, it's not just the division. See who their other games are against. But I do. I'm going to go over, too. I think 8, 9 wins possibility.
All right, so there you have it. Over for Ed. How about the Carolina Panthers, Edward? Bryce Young trying to get them back on the move. It's 6.5 for them. A lot of people picking them as a trendy surprise team in the NFC this year. What do you think for 6.5 in Carolina?
Carolina, I'm going to go over at 7, possibly 8. And that's only because I know what I'm going to say for New Orleans. But I'll give them, again, treading lightly, I'll give them 7 wins, go over.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they're going to go over as well in this spot. I like their nucleus. I think they will end up getting it done. So give me them as an over pick as well. We move on to the New Orleans Saints. You said you know what you want to say about them. 5.5. I don't like them at all. I think this is the worst team in professional football this year. The quarterback situation's a mess. They have some pretty good skill players, but I think their defense will get carved up a lot more than people anticipate. I'm going under for them.
I am too. I think 5. Spencer Ratliff is the quarterback for the first game.
Or Rattler.
Rattle, snake, whatever. He'll be gone by mid-season period. So, 5 wins. Under.
Yeah, and remember, last season the defense was 30th total yards allowed, 31st against the runs. They weren't great anyways. I don't see them getting many stops that they need. Tampa Bay's had a pretty good defense in the past, especially when they won the Super Bowl recently when Tom Brady was the quarterback in his swan song before they got beat by the Cowboys in the playoffs. And the Tampa Bay Bucks, they're not the Yucks. Their total is 9.5. It's a pretty big number, and Baker Mayfield and that offense has been humming with those receivers led by Mike Evans. What do you think here for the Bucks?
I go over. I think that's a 10, possibly 11 win team. Got to stay away from injuries like everybody else, but especially them. But I think they're over.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Bucks here, and we're agreeing way too much here.
I know that's not good.
That's not good at all. I'm going to go over as well. I don't love this choice, but I think they will get there to the number to make it happen. NFC West, as we close this one off here in the NFL over-unders for the National Football Conference. Arizona Cardinals, favorite team of somebody on this show, and it's not being Ed Young. 8.5 is the total. You want me to go first for this?
I think it's your turn. No, isn't it?
It probably is. Marvin Harrison Jr. is terrific. There are some good parts in this football team, but 8.5 is too high for that division. I love the schedule early out of the gate. I think they can get off to a nice 4-1-ish type start, 5-2-ish. But as the Cardinals tend to show in a lot of years with Kyler Murray or even pre-Kyler Murray, they can fizzle late. So give me the under. It's too high a number at 8.5 for me to buy it.
I was going to say under at 8 wins. You know what I'm going to do? Just to throw you a fave. I'm going over. They're going to get 9 wins. Your hapless Cardinals are going to get 9 wins in that division. Well,
I'm not buying it, folks. This is what he's doing. This is called the Ed Young wins either way, because if he gets it right, he can say he's right and brag, which is what he wants to do. But if he's wrong, he can be all right because he'll just razz me the whole year. So that's his plan. So trust me, he's very calculated with every step and move he takes. And this is another one of those calculated steps.
I'm picking with my head, not my heart. I want to see I think the Cardinals can do it. I think they can. Oh, let's do the other teams, and you'll see why I'm saying it.
5.5 it was last year. I went over. He went under. It was a double whammy, but we got to 8. Didn't make the playoffs. I say we like I'm part of the team. I'm not. The other teams in the division, did you want to go to them? LA Rams, you see on the screen, 7.5. We both went over. They won 10 for the second straight year. And this year, even though Matthew Stafford, there are some questions about the health for him, it's another big number at 9.5. So they'll have to get to 10 to get there. What do you think? Over or under 9.5 for the Rams?
Rams, give me Stafford got to stay healthy. I'm going to give me 10 wins, so they're going to go over. I'm going to go 10 wins.
10 wins, you say? All right, I'm going to agree with you and go over as well.
Oh, I thought you'd go under.
No, I think they do. I think they will get that. Last two here as we close out this edition of the show, and probably the show for today as well. The last one here, last two, I should say, you have the San Francisco 49ers. And Ed, it's 10.5 for the Niners after missing the playoffs a year ago. And you say, my goodness, why is it so high? They've lost some pieces, so really talented on that football team with Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, and the crew. What do you think? Niners at 10.5. I'm gonna actually take the under here. I wanted to take the over, but I look at that division and I say that's just a big, big number.
I thought you would go over it. I'm going to say 10 wins for them. Everybody's jumping on the 49er bandwagon. And that's one team that injuries have really hurt them in the past. If they do again, they're not going to perform. But I'm going to say 10. I don't think they'll go 11 or 12. Could easily, but somebody got to win in that division. But I'll go under.
All right, and then you have the Seattle Seahawks. 8.5 is the tally for them. New quarterback with Sam Darnold. Still got Kenneth Walker running the football. What do you think for Seattle and the Seahawks?
I think, of course, I don't know what Sam Darnold kind of year he's going to have. I'm going to go over. I'm going to go 9. I'm going to say they get
9. Over for Seattle.
Yeah, 9 wins.
Okay. I will go with, believe it or not, I'm going to go just under. I have questions about the quarterback. I know Jackson Smith and Jigba could have a big year at wide receiver for them, but I don't think they'll quite get to that number. And there you have it. That is our NFL over-unders for the AFC and the NFC, now complete on this edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. All right. Parting shots. Anything you'd like to add before we bid adieu on this particular Saturday? There's some good games next week, Ed. You got Granby trying to bounce back against Dinwiddie. That's not a great look for them. But you have Kings Fork welcoming in Wise out in Suffolk. That'll be a monster matchup. You have Oscar Smith trying to redeem themselves against the Warwick Raiders. You have Cox and Bayside in the Beach. You have Maury going to Verina. That is a mega showdown in Richmond on Friday. We're going to send you up there. Have a great weekend. You too, Jason. Yeah, we're going to send you up there, Ed. Maury, Verina. You get that for us?
That'd be a good game to see. I'd have to check my schedule. My schedule is really full.
Oh, your schedule. Stop it with your schedule. By the way, our man Woody, real quick, Woody sent us this video. You couldn't hear it that way. I'll put it in the other so you can hear it.
No. I heard the video. You were talking. I never heard a word you said.
I know. You didn't hear what I was saying.
Oh, okay. You did it on purpose.
Well, I'll do it. Now you can hear me talk while I put the video play. There you go. On the screen. Now you can hear me, right? You hear me loud and clear? There's the video. He's at Todd, Warwick, and Mallard Creek getting ready to get things off at high noon.
Okay.
The Raiders. What's that?
Kids are dancing. The kids are excited. They're dancing.
Come on, there we got Woody on the team. We'll make him our on-field correspondent for this. There you go. Look at that. We're at that. Got the yellow unis today. How about that? Yellow unis. It'll be a fun one. between the Wascally Warwick Raiders.
Hey, another party word we never mentioned the game.
Real quick. The Wascally Warwick Raiders out of Newport News at Todd against the Mallard Creek. What are they from? Charlotte, North Carolina. You should notice you just did your picks. What are they? What's their nickname? You should notice.
Ducks.
They're not the Ducks. They're not the Ducks. They're the Mavericks.
I don't care what her nickname is. You cannot have a school named Mallard and not be called the Ducks.
They are the Mavericks.
Change it. That's a stupid nickname, Mavericks. Give them the Ducks. It's perfect. Quack, quack, here they come. That's what they should have done.
Oregon's got the Ducks. Oregon.
Give a shout out. We got to give a shout out to a power team and a great coach. Lafayette under Andy Lynn. I watched him last night up close.
We didn't talk at all about that game at Smithfield.
Not at all. And I'm going to tell you what. Lafayette hits you hard and often. And those kids that we highlighted in the preseason about, you picked the kid Simpson for player of the year. When that kid catches a ball, if you don't have somebody on him now, you ain't getting him later. He's gone. And that quarterback, what impressed me about him, is it Hogue?
Palmer Hogg, yeah.
Not only does he throw a nice pass, a really nice pass, that kid is a headhunter on defense. A quarterback who's looking to make every hit on defense. I'd be like, hey, man, stay back now. I need you on offense. But he's in there hitting. Lafayette looks awful good. Now, I know Smithfield, not a power. They lost some key players. They were in that game at a point. They made some mistakes that really hurt them early, but they were in that ball game. But Lafayette, man, I tell you what, first time I got a chance to really see them up close, they've got some great talent. They hit so well. And the thing that would drive me crazy, Smithfield did it. That film you showed of Derek Fisher taking off. Football kids, and I know this is driving football coaches nuts. Stop trying to tackle people up high. You got to hit them low, get them off their center of gravity. You got to wrap up them legs. Lafayette does a really, really good job of it. They go low and hard, and if they hit you high, they hit you with everything, and you're going down. So hats off, Andy Lynn. I got to see your team up close first time ever, and you deserve every bit of credit you get.
Maybe we'll get Andy Lynn on our special Young Hatfield football cast show that we're going to do on Sunday, whether Ed wants to or not. I'll just do it with an Ed Young mannequin if we have to, if he doesn't want to show up because he's going to be screaming at the TV as Notre Dame loses by 20 points to Miami.
So Notre Dame Miami is not tonight. It's tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm glad you being the fanatical Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan know when your team plays. I love that.
I thought it was tonight. I was ready to go to establishment with a big screen.
No, it's Sunday night. This is Labor Day weekend, in case you hadn't heard.
Well, that's another problem. The NFL should be starting Sunday night tomorrow.
I have to go to a football game. You don't have time for this rant. But we want to thank all of you for interacting with us. We will do a Sunday night special. No Lord willing, whether Ed's here or not. We're doing it. Case closed. But as we bid adieu, I learned three things. If you're watching out there, Pat Doolin, number one, your AD, by the way, Ed's talking about how to tackle high, tackle low, all these type of things. I see assistant football coach to Tracy Parker and the Packers in the future.
No, I can't do that.
Number two, he loves football, even though he wants to hate on it and tell you how great basketball is because he's a basketball lover. And number three, we thank all of you for interacting and commenting with us. High school football is back. College football too. Of course, is putting on the headgear. We love it all. Pro football ready to start. And I tell you what, we got to tell you before we bid adieu on this particular edition, Feeding the Ducks, as we were doing, Feeding the Ducks, about the dentist. Everybody's got to go to the dentist, don't they?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do what? Don't do what? Don't put your head in your hands.
It's all Woody's fault.
Hey, friends. It's joke time. What did the dentist win at the competition? The dentist won a little plaque.
See you later, folks. Have a great sports weekend, and we'll talk to you next time here on 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV.